Joe Biden pardoned you and a number of people who he thought Trump would go after.
No, I take the opposite view. I don't think he should have given the pardons at all.
Really?
No, I don't think he should have, and I was vocal about that at the time.
Can you refuse a pardon?
That's less clear because in the case of the January 6th committee, he pardoned essentially the whole committee.
And the fact that Schiff hasn't blinked since 1992. And he didn't take the news so well. The disgraced Democrat went on TikTok to complain. Behold.
Hello, I'm Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans.
Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld have finally had it with Adam Schiff, and they're not pulling any punches this time. No polite jabs, no mild critiques. They went nuclear. For years, Schiff kept America tangled in a never-ending maze of conspiracy dead ends, chasing shadows of Russian collusion like a detective in a bad TV drama. He clung to flimsy fairy tale dossiers, waving them around like holy relics, while pushing bald-faced lies as if they were carved into stone tablets. Now, the fog has lifted, the facts are on the table, and guess what? Even people from his own political camp are tearing into him. It's like watching a pack of hungry hyenas turn on the very guy they once cheered for. Except this time, the prey is a slick-talking operator who's run out of tricks.
Let's stop talking about Trump. We talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all or improve Obamacare or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Maher brought the sharp sarcasm. Gutfeld brought the ruthless one-liners. And together, they dismantled Schiff's carefully crafted image piece by piece, leaving nothing but the political wreckage scattered on the floor. And you better believe I've got all of it. Every brutal roast, every eye-roll-worthy reaction, and every fragment of political shrapnel flying across the stage. This isn't just criticism. This is a public dismantling in real time. Your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. That really is Bill Maher torching Adam Schiff on live TV. And let's be real, that's something CNN or MSNBC wouldn't dare touch without spontaneously combusting on air. Schiff has spent years crafting this self-made image as the fearless crusader who was going to take down Trump, treating Russian collusion like it was an ancient prophecy written just for him on stone tablets. He pushed that narrative harder than a network milking the final season of its biggest show. Day, night, weekend, holidays, only for it to crash and burn in spectacular fashion with a jaw-dropping total of 0 real evidence. And when the truth came out, silence. No mea culpa, no accountability, just the sound of political crickets chirping in the background. So, when Maher finally leaned in and dropped that million-dollar gut punch, what exactly have you done for America, Adam Schiff? The room froze. It wasn't a question, it was a verdict. And then, Greg Gutfeld stepped up and went full flamethrower, scorching Schiff over his not-so-small role in the mess and confusion of the COVID era. He didn't just criticize, he dismantled, pointing out how Schiff's political games helped fuel chaos when America needed clarity the most. This wasn't polite debate. This was primetime demolition. While the virus was silently slipping through the cracks and the nation was on the edge of a full-blown health crisis,
for Adam Schiff, because he created 3 years of a massive fallacy that did so much damage to this country and made us miss probably one of the most important stories of our lifetime. We were having hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding.
What was Adam Schiff doing? Oh, nothing urgent. Just obsessing over his impeachment fantasies like a teenager binge-watching his favorite conspiracy thriller. Instead of focusing on the brewing storm, he kept America hooked on endless political theater, dragging the country through one pointless investigation after another and feeding the media just enough half-baked bombshells to keep the circus alive. At a time when the country needed leaders preparing for a global emergency, Schiff made sure everyone's eyes stayed glued to Trump, like a magician distracting the crowd while the real danger crept in unnoticed. And Greg Gutfeld? He didn't pull a single punch. He ripped into Schiff's so-called credibility, torching his twisted sense of priorities and exposing the petty personal score settling at the heart of it all. Then came the knockout line, the question that cut through all the political noise. What kind of man misleads an entire nation just to scratch a personal itch for revenge?
Hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding. We talked about that virus in green rooms, but we had to do this impeachment story. We had to show these hearings. It's all on him, man. He's got to go. They got to investigate him. They got to hold him accountable. I'm not going to say he should go to prison, but my evil twin will say he should go away to prison for a very long time.
It wasn't just a jab. It was the kind of hit that leaves a career limping for weeks. Honestly, it's a mystery how Adam Schiff is still walking the halls of power without so much as a paper cut to his reputation. This is the guy who spent years misleading the most powerful nation on earth with nothing but hot air, political theater, and a straight face. And yet, no slap on the wrist, no formal censure, not even a public scolding. Like Greg Gutfeld said, nobody's calling for him to be thrown behind bars. But let's be real, the man owes America something. At the very least, he should stand up, look the country in the eye, and deliver a genuine, unfiltered apology. Not a politician's half-smile and vague regret, but an actual acknowledgement of the circus he orchestrated. Schiff dragged an entire nation through years of smoke, mirrors, and manufactured hysteria, all while burning through taxpayer money like it was play cash from a board game. The investigations, the headlines, the grandstanding, every second of it was about scoring political points, not serving the people. And here's the truth. You don't just sweep that level of deception under the rug, pat yourself on the back and walk away. An apology won't erase the damage. It won't give back the years wasted or restore the public trust he shredded. But it's a start. And at this point, it's the absolute minimum Adam Schiff can offer the country he claims to serve. Yes, Speaker McCarthy was absolutely right to give Adam Schiff the boot from the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence.
Schiff got kicked to the curb, and the irony is superb. He went crying to mommy on an app run by Chinese commies. Congressman Adam Schiff announced this morning he's running for U.S. Senate in California, which is guaranteed to boost U-Haul rentals headed for Texas. He unveiled the highly polished and produced political ad right on the heels of getting booted from the House Intel Committee. Coincidence? I think not.
That move didn't just clear a seat. It shut down one of the longest-running circus acts in Washington. For years, Schiff turned what should have been a position of integrity into a stage for political stunts, smokescreens, and headline-chasing drama. He drained public trust dry while grinning in front of the cameras, pretending it was all just good old oversight. Now, instead of reflecting on the damage he's done, Schiff's already eyeing California's Senate seat like it's his next big magic trick. But let's be real. If history's any clue, he'll walk right into that chamber with the same sleight of hand, the same shady showmanship, and the same obsession with keeping himself in the spotlight. Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld didn't mince words. They see a man whose reputation enters the room long before he does, and it's not exactly the kind that earns applause. From peddling empty collusion bombshells to turning matters of national security into his own partisan playground, Schiff has made it crystal clear. He's more invested in political pageantry than in actual leadership. California deserves more than a career spotlight chaser who consistently puts party over principle and personal ambition over the people he's supposed to serve. Because if voters hand him the mic, they're not getting a statesman. They're getting the return of the Adam Schiff show, and nobody's buying tickets this time. Bill Maher didn't just casually point out why Adam Schiff's Senate run is in trouble. He spelled it out in plain sight. Schiff is just too woke for a state that's starting to tire of performative politics. Sure, he's not always out there shouting slogans from the rooftops, but his tone, his carefully measured answers, and that overly polished career politician shine give him away every single time. It's the kind of calculated smoothness that tells you exactly where he stands, without him ever having the guts to say it outright.
The Atlantic put out an article last year, and it was called "Separating Sports by Doesn't Make Sense." Right. And talked about how we separate sports like the WNBA and the just because it's just socialization. This is insane.
I agree.
Okay. That's why people vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. Because there's stuff like that on the left that people just go, I know Trump's horrible, but separating by sports by sex makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And if you think it doesn't, you can't lead the country.
And let's not pretend. Schiff is very comfortable cozying up to the woke wing of the Democratic Party. Case in point, when the hot-button topic of trans women competing in women's sports came up, he didn't give a clear yes or a firm no. Instead, he practically started tap dancing on live TV, dodging the question with the skill of a man who spent decades avoiding straight answers. It was politician gymnastics at its finest, a prepackaged, carefully worded non-answer that screamed, "I'm with them," without actually taking ownership of the stance. That's the problem. Californians are getting sick of leaders who tiptoe around cultural flashpoints like they're walking through a minefield, terrified of setting off the Twitter mob. They want clarity, not choreography. They want leaders who will plant their feet and say what they mean, not pivot, smile, and slide into the next talking point. Maher saw the sidestep for exactly what it was, a political dodge dressed up in polite language, and he called him out without hesitation. And in a race where voters are looking for authenticity over empty polish, Schiff's habit of dancing around the truth might be the very thing that costs him the Senate seat he's already measuring the drapes for. In a political climate where voters are starving for boldness, honesty, and straight answers, Adam Schiff's vague positioning and predictable ideological lean could be the very anchors that sink his Senate campaign before it even leaves the dock. Californians have seen enough rehearsed smiles, calculated pauses, and safe answers to last a lifetime, and Schiff's playbook is full of them. Greg Gutfeld didn't just give him a light roast. This was a precision strike, surgical, sharp, and absolutely merciless. He didn't waste time tossing one-liners for cheap laughs or chasing applause breaks. Instead, he methodically dismantled Schiff's Senate pitch, exposing it as nothing more than a glossy brochure for the same tired brand of political ambition we've all grown sick of. Gutfeld didn't just shade Schiff's Senate dreams. He dragged them out into the harsh glare of the spotlight and torched them before they had the slightest chance to ignite.
Dems pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. 2 for 2. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured, but to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
This wasn't comedy for the sake of entertainment. It was a bold, unmistakable line in the sand. America doesn't need more career politicians clawing for clout. It needs grown-ups in the room. People willing to make tough calls, speak the truth, and lead without hiding behind the safety net of party talking points. America needs steady, principled leaders, the kind who don't treat party loyalty as a free pass to run non-stop political hit jobs. And when you strip away Adam Schiff's endless fixation on impeaching Trump and weaving half-baked conspiracy tales, the question practically asks itself, what does he actually bring to the table for the Democrats? Where's the landmark legislation he's authored? Where's the bold, actionable plan to tackle inflation, fix our broken immigration system, or strengthen national security? You won't find it, because it doesn't exist. All you'll hear is silence. Schiff's career highlight reel isn't full of solutions or real progress. It's a montage of press conferences, sound bites, and partisan grandstanding designed to keep his name in the headlines without moving the needle for the people he represents. Greg Gutfeld's takedown didn't just bruise Schiff's ego. It sounded a national alarm. It was a blunt reminder that the country has to stop rewarding political showmen for being loud and start demanding leaders who are effective.
Senator Schiff, given the ongoing political tensions and Trump's actions toward his critics, do you think President Biden's preemptive pardons turned out to be more important than initially expected? Let's first tell people what that means, preemptive pardons. That was pretty unprecedented, right? Before he left office, Joe Biden pardoned you and a number of people who he thought Trump would go after.
No, I take the opposite view. I don't think he should have given the pardons at all.
Really?
No, I don't think he should have, and I was vocal about that at the time.
Can you refuse a pardon?
That's less clear because in the case of the January 6th committee, he pardoned essentially the whole committee.
Because America doesn't need another spotlight addict obsessed with their next TV appearance. It needs people willing to do the hard, often thankless work of governing. And if voters keep confusing performance for leadership, we're going to keep getting politicians like Adam Schiff. All drama, no delivery. America needs builders, not bomb throwers. Leaders who can actually fix what's broken instead of just lobbing headlines and partisan grenades. And here's where things get really interesting. Because new whispers out of Washington suggest that some of President Biden's recent pardons might not have even been signed by the man himself. Yeah, you heard that right. That bombshell alone cracks open an entirely new can of constitutional chaos. If we're now questioning the authenticity of signatures at the very top of the executive branch, then what does that say about the validity of any future pardon Adam Schiff might try to angle for? Imagine the headlines. Schiff scores a get-out-of-jail card only for it to be tossed aside when the signature turns out to be sketchy, forged, or the product of yet another cozy backroom handshake. That's not just political drama. That's the kind of legal landmine that could blow up his escape plan before it even hits the table. And if that happens, Schiff could finally be staring down the accountability he's been dodging for years. In a country where no one is above the law is supposed to mean something, flimsy paperwork and shadowy political favors shouldn't be anyone's golden ticket to avoid consequences. If Schiff really did abuse his position, twisting power for personal gain, then no ghost-signed pardon should be able to shield him. The American people deserve more than leaders who play by a different set of rules just because they have the right contacts in their phone. They deserve leaders who earn their protection through integrity, not through the signatures of ghosts. If justice is real, it can't just hit the little guys. It has to slice right through the VIP section too. And Adam Schiff's backstage pass? It might be running out of time.
And so the FBI came in and arrested the judge. No, I haven't heard that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I've ever read arrested a judge. So is this significant?
Well, I think
I'm not going to comment on something I don't know more about than what you've just told me.
You read about it too.
Yeah, I mean, I read about it, but I don't know.
So you don't trust anything either, and you work for the New York Times.
Well,
Bill Maher didn't let up for a second. He kept the heat turned all the way up, peeling back the curtain on Schiff's blatant hypocrisy and torching him for his habit of serving outrage only when it's politically convenient. Maher laid it out plain. Schiff's moral compass doesn't spin unless it points toward his favorite talking points. Case in point, when asked about a judge who was actually arrested for helping an illegal immigrant slip past ICE, Schiff suddenly developed political amnesia. No outrage, no fiery speech, no demands for justice, just a vague shrug, like he had no idea what anyone was talking about. And here's the kicker. If that exact same story had even sneezed in the direction of Russia, Schiff would have been holding a press conference before breakfast, complete with a dramatic monologue and a stack of bombshell claims. But since it didn't fit his favorite narrative, he went radio silent. And that, in one scene, is the Adam Schiff problem in a nutshell. Outrage on demand. Accountability on vacation. Adam Schiff doesn't chase the truth. He chases headlines that feed his narrative. When it comes to endlessly flogging the already worn Russian collusion storyline, he's got the stamina of a marathon runner. But the moment a legitimate legal issue pops up, like a judge being arrested for helping an illegal immigrant evade ICE, suddenly, Schiff has nothing to say. No outrage, no urgency, just the sound of a man dodging eye contact with the truth. Bill Maher wasn't about to let that slide. He called out Schiff's glaring double standard without a shred of hesitation.
Dems pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured. But to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
This wasn't a harmless slip-up or some absent-minded oops. It was a calculated sidestep, the kind of selective outrage and strategic silence that makes so many Americans roll their eyes when career politicians claim they're just trying to do what's right. Because, let's face it, people don't want referees who only blow the whistle when it benefits their own team. And once again, Schiff handed his loyal fan base another whopper. He keeps pushing this heroic narrative that he was booted from the House Intelligence Committee for bravely taking on MAGA villains. The truth? He was shown the door because his entire Trump-Russia case collapsed like a Jenga tower made of lies and wishful thinking. His so-called evidence wasn't evidence at all. It was political smoke, theatrical mirrors, and just enough dramatic flair to keep his supporters convinced he was onto something big. For years, Adam Schiff peddled the Trump-Russia collusion narrative like it was some newly discovered chapter of the Bible, delivered straight from the political heavens. He promised the country that damning proof was always just over the next hill. But here's the spoiler. That hill wasn't a summit of truth, it was a cliff. And when it became painfully obvious that his grand claims had no foundation, did Schiff take responsibility? Did he level with the American people? Of course not. Instead, he flipped the script like a seasoned spin doctor, recasting himself as the brave victim being punished for standing up to Trump. That's not courage, that's textbook political damage control. Schiff's strategy has never really changed. Keep his base emotional, keep the buzzwords flowing, sprinkle in a few dramatic pauses, and hope no one looks too closely at what's under the hood. But here's the problem. There's nothing underneath, no substance, no results, just empty rhetoric dressed up as righteous crusading. And facts don't lie, even if he does. Schiff's political playbook is worn thin, frayed at the edges, and starting to look like something you'd find in a bargain bin clearance rack. This is a man who built his entire career on deception, deflection, and division. From flogging discredited hoaxes to completely ignoring pressing issues like illegal immigration and the crumbling public trust, Schiff has shown the country exactly what kind of leader he is. And now, the mask he's worn for years is starting to slip, revealing not a principled statesman, but a professional illusionist whose biggest trick is keeping the truth out of sight. Adam Schiff has made one thing painfully clear. His true loyalty lies not with accountability, not with the people of California, but with his own relentless climb up the political ladder. Every move, every speech, every bombshell revelation has been about feeding that ambition. And now, Bill Maher, Greg Gutfeld, and a growing number of Americans are finally pulling back the curtain on Schiff's selective outrage and double standards. The fog of fiction he's carefully spun for years is starting to lift, and what's emerging isn't a principled public servant. It's a politician more obsessed with the spotlight than with actual solutions. The Senate, like the House before it, doesn't need another stage actor perfecting their dramatic pauses. It needs a leader who will show up for the hard, unglamorous work of governing. Californians are waking up to that reality. They're beginning to see past the rehearsed sound bites, the political theater, and the endless self-promotion. And when the stage lights dim, all that's left is the record. And Schiff's record speaks volumes about where his priorities truly lie. And that wraps up today's dive into political drama. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more sharp commentary just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.